Hey y'all, and what's up? Welcome to Chemically Balance the Pause Pod. Listen, I'm coming at you. This is the very first recording, the very first episode of the actual talking podcast portion of the Pause Pod. So I'm so excited. I get to jump back into this, coming back from a long break of not really doing this, not really doing much of anything as far as showing up. So here we go. So again, if you don't know me, my name is Kimberly. Dedyne rhymes with Divine. I am your host of the Pause Pod, your virtual safe space for you to press pause and simply be. Thank you for joining me today. Now let's go ahead and get this out the way. I got two different earrings on. So if you watching and you paying attention, yes, I have two different earrings on. Okay. I got my ears pierced about a couple months ago, and this whole hole just decided to close up on me. So your girl had to put on a clip on, and I realized that I don't have a matching real earring to match this. I don't have a clip on to match this. So we're going to rock out and be a little different today. So if you notice that first off the bat watching this, hey, but you don't have to watch, you can listen too. So if you just listen and you're not watching, don't worry about what I just said, all right? So listen, we're going to go ahead and get into today, y'all. I have been on a hiatus, I guess you could say, for a long time from just really showing up. And it wasn't intentional. It wasn't on purpose. All the caveats in place. It is not that I'm shy from showing up on camera. I don't want to talk in front of people. It was none of that. I just felt like I ran out of things to talk about. I ran out of things to say. And I had got to a point where there were different experiences that were happening in my life, and I did not want to show up trying to pour from a busted place. And I just didn't want to get out here and just start saying any and everything. I didn't want to speak from a place of hurt. I didn't want to speak from a place of pain. I didn't want bitterness to try to come and set in, arrogance, everything. I just didn't want to be one of those people that come and bleed on people. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to get myself together. I'm going to get me together, make sure my heart is pure. And I think what had happened was that I stayed a little bit too long away. I stayed away a little bit too long. So here we are jumping back into things, and I'm going to let you know what had happened was, okay, we're going to talk about it because I think it's very important that we talk about those things. And that's kind of what the Pause Pod is for, is that we're coming from a place of, we're living life from a rested place. We're not running off of burnout anymore. We're not operating from our places of trauma. We're not speaking from a hurt place, a traumatic place anymore. Anytime we show up and we want to go out here and do what it is that we're supposed to do, we're going to be clear, we're going to be confident, we're going to be concise, but we also have compassion for what it is and for the people that we come across, right? So I wanted to make sure that I was good. I wanted to do it right. So listen, why was I away? What happened? So first of all, let me tell you something. So I've been studying for like the last month. I've been studying. I kind of fell into studying, but I started thinking, I was like, why is lilies my favorite flower? It was literally a random thought. Like, why are lilies my favorite flower? And from that simple question, it snowballed into the most beautiful, perfect story that could just unfold in front of my eyes. And here comes the sun trying to come through these curtains. I thought I closed it, but we're gonna rock out with it. We're not gonna let it distract me. So let's get into this story. Okay. So first of all, like we said, I hope you lit your candle today. I'm rocking Pure Chemistry's Emerge and See candle today. So y'all can find your candle on purechemistry.com. You can also join our membership where you can get your very own candle delivered right to your door. That membership is only $27. So you can head over to purechemistry.com and tap into that. And of course, you'll have access to the collab while you're there. So listen. So as I said, I was digging, right? Lilies are my favorite flower. Calla lilies, to be specific. I absolutely love calla lily. I love some of the other ones too, but calla lilies are my favorite flower. And so a lot of times people say that lilies grow best in the valley, right? Not the mountaintop, not in the spotlight, not on these high places where you can see them grow, but in very low places, in quiet places, in damp places that are hidden from view, right? And I didn't know at the time, but I was entering into a valley place. I didn't know it was real. I just heard it in a song back when I was a kid. My mom and daddy used to play John P. Key, Lily of the Valley. He's a lily of the valley. I don't know why I love that song when I heard it when I was little. I have no idea, but it just kind of stuck with me. And so growing up, my sister had this personalized book. And in that book, this book was created before I was born. And so when I first picked up the book, I thought I was going to be in the book, but it was before I was born. So I hadn't even been thought of yet. And so I will go through the book, and there's a couple pages in that book. It was actually a book kind of about her life and about who she was, her identity. So it had like her birthday, what her favorite color was, and different things like that. And so I got to these pages where it had her birthday, and I saw in the back there was a book in the background. I wish I could find that book. I'm gonna ask my mom or my dad, see if they got that book. But there was a book in the background that said December on there. And I was like, oh, I'm in the book. I'm in the book. I got December. That's when I was born. That's me. Okay. So I am in here somehow. And for whatever reason, it was matching up birthday months with flowers. And now granted, December was matched up with poinsettias, but somehow there were lilies or something somewhere in that book. And I remember I for whatever reason, I identified with the lilies, right? It said it was lilies of the valley actually in the book. And so I was like, oh, I like that flower because it's a song about it. They made a song about it. So I like that flower. And ever since then, I just like lilies. I didn't really know what I was talking about. I didn't know what I was talking about back then when I was a kid, right? So listen, that's going to make sense in a minute. All right. I just had to lay the foundation of that. That's going to make sense in a minute. So ever since back then, I realized that I love lilies. It was a thing. I had them at our wedding. My husband, anytime he brings me flower or he sends me flowers, they always have lilies in it or sunflowers. Sunflowers are my second favorite flower. And I just found that it was interesting. And so when that thought popped up the other day about lilies being my favorite flower and me realizing that was actually the backstory from all those years ago up until 2025, that it's a purpose for everything. It's a purpose for everything. And so when you're looking out on the outside of things, hold on to that story because I'm going to come back to that. So when you're looking from the outside, for me to get to that valley place, people probably don't realize that I was in a valley place. I didn't realize I was in a valley place until I was in that thing. It looked like I was doing everything right. I was building my brand. I was building Pure Chemistry. I was showing up for everybody else. I was building different programs and helping people be administrative help for other people and just being an all around help. I mean, I love to help people. That's something that I actually enjoy doing. And so it wasn't a problem for me. I just said yes to making it happen. I was just making it happen. And I was making it happen and just being a genuine person of, I want to see you win, so let me help you. What do you need? Let me help you do what you need to do. But on the inside, I was running empty. Talk about burnt out. Talk about overwhelmed, irritated, frustrated. It felt like I could run a marathon for everybody else, but it was just like I couldn't run for me. I could not run for me. And the kind of empty that I felt, a nap couldn't fix it. A weekend off couldn't fix it. It was just like everything needed to stop. Everything needed to stop. And I'm wondering if there's anybody else. Like, have y'all ever experienced where it's just like you tired, you just need something, but you don't know exactly what you need. You feel like you've been doing all the things. You've been trying to get organized. You've been keeping your schedule. You've been just going and going and going and going and going. You got all the ideas. You got all the strategy, but it seems like nothing. Like a nap won't help you. A cup of soup won't help you. A spa visit won't help you. It just feels like nothing can fix what it is that you're dealing with or what you're going through. So between the years of 2020 and 2024, I walked through some of the hardest, some of the most difficult times of my life. I, man, I had to deal with loss. I had to deal with grief, disappointment, manipulation. Man, it felt like it was a lot of silence sometimes. It felt like God, it felt like God was there, but he was silent. And I just had to kind of figure out how to be still after he told me to be still. And I'm like, I don't know how to be still. You telling me to be still. How do I do that? And it just felt like it was so much more pressure than it was peace. And I'm like, it's supposed to be the other way around. It's supposed to be peace over pressure. So I just kept trying to push through. You know, I kept trying to produce my way out of the pain. I kept trying to do this and do that, do. But it wasn't working. It was not working. And but what I didn't realize was that I wasn't being punished. I thought I was being punished. I thought that I got in trouble. Maybe I wasn't showing up correctly. Maybe I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. Maybe I didn't follow this instruction or I didn't follow that instruction. Maybe I didn't pray enough. Maybe I didn't fast enough. Maybe I didn't fast at all. Maybe I didn't fast correctly. It just felt, I'm like, man, what did I miss something? I remember I kept saying, did I miss something? What did I miss? What did I miss? Kim, you had to have missed something. What did you miss? And I just kept thinking, man, I'm being punished. I done messed up bad. I don't know what's going on. I didn't hear God correctly. I didn't hear God when he told me to leave my job. I didn't hear God correctly when I prayed and I said, God, if there was something more for me, then show us what the more is. Like maybe I just missed it. And now I'm just going to go ahead and try to take matters into my own hands and go do this and do that. I thought I was being punished. But what I didn't realize was that I was being planted. And in that hidden place, man, God didn't give me a blueprint. He gave me permission in the midst of all that chaos, in the midst of the overwhelm, the burnout, the fear that tried to put me in a headlock, the depression that came upon me. It was depression walked up on me like I owed it money. Anxiety came at me like I said something about his mama and it was about to run up and get done up. And I'm just like, now hold on a second. I don't deal with this. So why all of a sudden am I being attacked? It felt like every side, like, yo, I don't even operate like this. Like, what is happening? What is going on? But God gave me permission. He gave me permission in that moment, in that time of being in the valley, where it felt like I was dirty and I was dingy, and I felt like I was stepped over, and I felt like I had nothing else to give. I had nothing. I had negative nothing to give myself, but I had nothing to give to anybody else. At the same time, I felt like it just was like, but everybody tell you got to keep going, right? Everybody tell you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing through. The world tells you got to hustle it out. You got to grind it out. Just keep grinding. It's going to pay off. I tried that, and it felt like I was being dragged in the mud, and stuff began to fall apart. It didn't make sense. And so I had to get to a place where it felt like everything was stripped away from me. And I mean everything. Everything was stripped away from me. And God started pulling back the layers of what I placed my identity in, so I could come to the realization that my identity is not in any of these things, but my identity is rooted in Him. And I had to go through this valley of experience to lose it all, so God can give me permission to pause, to rest, and to finally receive what He's been trying to give me for so long. He's been trying to get my attention for so long. Now, listen, growing up when I was in school, I was the kid that, hey, I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to smoke. I don't want to get in trouble with my parents. I don't have time for that. I'm just going to do what I need to do. In fact, I'm going to be an overachiever. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do way more than what I'm supposed to. And being an overachiever became being a performer, which then turned into me losing myself and showing up as who everybody else needed me to be, because that was the way that they were able to accept me, is by me being what they saw me as, instead of me just being me, instead of me just knowing that me being myself was just enough. And if they can't get with the program of me being my authentic self, then what are we doing? We don't have anything to talk about. But I didn't know that back then. And so I just kept conforming to, okay, Kim, you are a therapist. We're going to come and tell you all our business. By the way, there's a lot of people that just happen to, I must have that face where it says, tell me, which is okay. You know, I'm going to receive I'm going to take you what you said, and I'm going to pray for you if God tell me to pray for you. But back then it was just, I didn't know at the time, but I found myself giving advice where I'm like, I don't even know how I'm able to give this type of advice. People would just consistently come and talk to me. People will need me for this. People will need me for that. And I felt like I was in the middle of a tug of war. I was just getting pulled in all places. But that fed a need that I had in me to feel like I was needed. And so I would consistently put myself in those situations to fulfill that feeling of needing to be needed. But at the end of the day, I found myself being burnt out. I found myself being dismissed. I found myself being muted, not taken seriously for who I genuinely am, because I was so busy trying to fulfill these other roles of what people gave to me. And it was never my job to fulfill that in the first place. So God allowed me to get to this point of being in the valley, to be in this low place, for me to look up and be like, dang, I don't have any of those things, like all those things that I thought I needed. You know, when they grow up, they tell you, go to school, go to college, get your degree so you can get an amazing job. I said, bet. I planned out my life. I did that, got the degree. The job that they say that you're going to get after that degree was not there. And so I'm sitting here trying to figure out, like, yo, hold on, this don't match up with what I've been told for so long. What are we doing? This is not part of the plan. This is not, you know how on Fresh Prince, Jazz would be like, it's all part of my plan. I thought I was going to get a dope job. It's all a part of my plan. We good. My life is set up. I said I wasn't going to get married until after I got my degree. I did that. I got married at 25. Me and my husband rocking out doing the things. And I'm like, okay, this is where life's supposed to get sweet. I got my husband, he got me. We're going to build together. We're going to have this big, beautiful life together. We're going to have babies about 2 years after we got married. Thought I was going to have some babies at 27. And when all of that stuff kind of started to fall apart, I was like, this was not a part of the plan. This was not a part of my plan. But what was not my plan was God's plan. So as I slowed down, as I just had to be still, I had to learn to be still in that valley place, in that valley season. And it was I said 2020 to 2024, right? And actually, 2024. I would say a good solid 4 years. I know we in 2025, but I'm realizing that I can't really call 2025. I can't group that in with the valley place, and I'll explain about that in a minute. But as I slowed down, as I got with the program, as I finally surrendered instead of being on survival mode, is when I finally was like, okay, how do I get to this place of just being still? All right, step after step after step. What does it mean to be still? I had to literally break that phrase down. I couldn't even get to the part of being still. I had to learn what be was. I had to learn what simply being was. You know what? I'm going to get that definition. The definition of be, it means to exist. That's literally what the definition, to simply exist. I didn't know how to just simply exist without doing something, without trying to put my hands in something, without trying to utilize my brain to go do this and do that and figure this out and figure that out. I didn't know how to do it. It was foreign for me. And it was so uncomfortable because we grow up believing and being taught that, hey, you got to go do something. You got to do something to make something happen. You got to be about that action. We're taught to, hey, when you grow up and you turn 18 years old, all right, you an adult. You can go vote. 21, you're an adult. You can go drink. You can go do this and do that. 16, you can start driving a motor vehicle, a big, heavy piece of machinery. But we don't get taught to just simply exist and being at peace with who we are and simply existing with who we are, and not just this external person, not just this person that has on 2 different earrings, that got this hair, that got this headband on and this tan shirt and this butterfly necklace. No, but my heart. Allow my heart to exist just as it is, how God had created it, and not having to worry about trying to put things in my heart or giving things away, but simply being okay with, can I sit still and be quiet and not have to play music and be okay with being alone with me and God in my thoughts and the conversation he's trying to have with me? Am I okay with just simply existing in those moments? And I did not know how to do that. I did not know how to do that. But oh, this was my moment to learn. This was my moment to learn. And so I literally went through about a good 6 to 8 months, maybe even longer, maybe 9 months. No, I would say a good 9 months. In 9 months, you come to term, right? In 9 months, well, they say it's really 10 months, but 9 months, they say a mama carries a baby and she gets ready to give birth at 9 months. That is not a coincidence that I just made that connection. But 9 months, I had to learn how to simply be, be who I am, and be okay with being Kim and my identity, and the fact that I can pretty much laugh in every situation. And the fact that when I laugh with my mouth open. You're going to see all these teeth. You're going to see them and you're going to hear us. And the fact that I genuinely have a love for people that sometimes I don't even understand, on the level that I'm like, man, I just genuinely love them. Or the fact that I'm a real hugger. Like, I know there's people out there that say, I'm a hugger. I love to hug people. No, I believe hugs heal people. There's actually scientific evidence that hugs heal people. And maybe we'll have another conversation about that for another day. But I really be thinking about, like, man, I really see somebody, you are not having a good day. And if somebody could just wrap their arms around you and allow you to take a deep breath, that will make a difference in your life. That small moment will make a huge impact. The butterfly effect. Small moments, small things make huge impacts in your life. And if somebody could just walk up to you and give you a hug and you just receive it and you be okay, it will make a difference. So it's just things that I think about a lot, and I'm just like, do anybody else think about this, things like this in this type of way? But I had to be okay with, like, everybody else might not think about it that way, but Kim, God created you to think about things this way. So I had to be okay with me. I had to be okay with how I look, how I show up, how my voice sounds, how how my laugh comes out. I had to think about, I had to be okay with how my brain works. I just had to be okay with me. And that is where one of the major things that God had to get me to know and understand in the valley season. Am I okay with me? Which means, am I okay with the creation that He created me to be? Am I okay with God's creation? Do I love me? Meaning, do I love God's creation? Do I love my heart? Meaning, do I love God's heart? If I'm created in His image, do I love me as I love Him? I had to get to a point where I was okay with me and how I show up. So can't nobody else come in and tell me what it is I need to do, how it is I need to show up, and what I need to sound like. We're all different for a reason. And I had to be okay with that. I had spent so many of my years trying to be like somebody else. I thought this part of somebody was cool. So how can I adapt that? I remember my aunt, she's no longer with us. God rest her soul. But she used to go at me. She used to make fun of how I talked, because she said, you weren't even born in the South. We were born, my people are from, my mama and them is from Arkansas. My daddy and them, my papa and them, they're from Alabama. And so she's like, you were born in the North. You were born in Michigan. Why do you have a Southern accent when you talk sometimes? And I'm like, I used to get so mad. I used to get so mad when she would tell me that. And I remember it was one holiday, we were at my auntie's house and we were all sitting by the steps, or sitting on the steps. And y'all know, y'all go to y'all people's house and you find a seat to sit wherever, and you got the plate in your lap. We were sitting on the stairs. And I think it was after we were done eating. And she walked up on me and she came at me. She came at me and she kept on, she had jokes. Auntie had jokes. And she was teasing me and kind of following me around. And I don't know what happened, but I fell over her leg and I got upset. I think I might have swung on her. I don't know how to fight. Let's be clear. Fight. And I would never in my right mind swing at my auntie. But this day I lost myself and I got in trouble. And they were like, "You trying to hit her? You trying to fight your auntie?" I'm like, "No, what? Y'all just gonna sit here and let her bully me?" She kept, and she still, while I was getting in trouble, she still was coming for my neck. And I'm like, well, what kind of foolishness is this? But I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't do nothing. And so I had to be okay. I had to be okay with that. Now me and my cousins, we laugh, and my sister, we laugh when we talk, because we're like, man, why we sound so country? And we were born in Michigan. But it is what it is. Our family, our people, our country. And so we picked up the sounds of how we pronounce things from them, because they country. So that makes us country too. And now I love it. It is what it is. I can't turn it off, and I'm not going to. It's in there. It's in there real good. But I had to learn how to simply be. I had to learn to love being me. I had to get excited about me getting up in the morning and being able to show up just as I am and not have to put on a mask of anybody else, because it didn't fit. It wasn't comfortable when I was trying to be all those other things for all those other people. I turn around and look back now and I'm like, yo, Kim, what was you thinking? You really was about to let somebody turn you into something that you're not, and you can't sustain that. And God will not bless something that you pretend to be. But I had to go through that hard time to realize that I was bugging. I was really bugging. I was like, phew. I sound like my daddy. He be making that noise. Phew. Man, I really lost it back there. But I'm glad God allowed me to find it. And in those moments where it's like, dang, the valley really sucks, bro. It really sucks. I'm getting dirty. I'm getting stomped on, beat up on. God gave me this analogy today, actually. While I was praying, I'm like, God, man, I really had to go through the valley for an extended period of time. My guy, like it was 40. I didn't learn what I was supposed to learn in shorter period of time, but it was a lot of work that I had to unpack and uncover. And I said, God, man, I was showing me, I'm a creative. So a lot of times when I think in images and movies. And then when God shows me things, he shows me images and movies. And so he showed me the movie Lion King. And you know that everybody know the scene where the stampede, they started the stampede. Oh, the stampede was started by Scar's crew. The stampede wasn't an organic stampede. It was started by the hyenas, which is Scar's crew. And the stampede started while Mufasa and Simba was down there in the valley. And all of a sudden, Mufasa had to think quickly to get Simba to safety. And so we all know Simba got to safety, but Mufasa got stuck down there. And so when Mufasa got stuck down there, he was trying to climb up the cliff. And he was yelling to his brother, help. And that fool looked over that cliff, and he said something slick was talking up the side of his neck. And he pulled up his claws and dug his claws in and threw him down there in that stampede. And R.I.P. Mufasa, he didn't make it. Little buddy didn't make it. And it was like the betrayal. But what God had showed me was that there were periods of times where I was Mufasa and I was trying to climb up the cliff, and I'm like, yo, I know somebody see me drowning. Come help me. And people would come and help me, but then they would turn around and betray me and throw me back down there. And I'm just like, I thought we were supposed to be helpers to one another. All these times that I stepped out there, that I put my own things, my own assignment on pause to come help you orchestrate and build and do whatever it is that others needed to be done. And I did it willingly. But when it came to needing somebody to help me, there were some times where I got betrayed and I got thrown right back in the valley. And I'm like, oh, I was so close. I was so close. Why am I down here again? And so it felt like he was in that stampede, you get stumped over, you get dirty, you in the mud, got twigs and everything all over in your hair. But God showed me that, but did you die? I didn't die. He didn't allow me to die. He did not allow me to die, no matter how banged up, how bruised I was, how scarred I was, how many cuts I had all over. I did not die. And so God showed me that I had to go through all of that for a reason, so I can actually come out on the other side knowing that that experience was experienced for a reason. And when I say those experiences was heartbreaking for me. Sometimes I felt like it just knocked the wind out of me, and I didn't know if I would ever be able to breathe the same again. A lot of times it just felt like, I'm just trying to catch my breath. And I know there's a lot of things that a lot of people go through. We all go through where it's just like it knocks the wind out of you. And it's just like, am I ever going to catch my breath? Am I ever going to catch my breath? Am I ever going to get out of this valley? Am I ever going to stop staring at dirt and grime and weeds? I want to look at something that got some real growth that's not that's going to produce fruit. I don't want to keep going into these things that's a dead end. I want to see the fruit. God, you promised me fruit. Where's the fruit at? Because I've been down here for a long time. But again, the valley season is necessary. So as he gave me permission to slow down, and I actually listened and slowed down and paused and took the rest that I needed to see, something beautiful began to happen. Something beautiful began to rise. And that beautiful thing was a fragrance. And it wasn't a natural fragrance. We do have candles. I do have candles as testimonies to that valley experience, but it wasn't a physical fragrance. It was more of a spiritual scent. Okay. It was a scent of surrender. It was a scent of healing. It was a scent of emerging. A scent of newness was coming. And it was like, even though I couldn't see it, a lot of times we pay attention to our sight and our hearing, but our scent is underestimated. Our sense of smell is underestimated. And in those times where you can't see in the dark and all you hear in the dark, you go to Africa, you go to the jungle and it's dark. They tell you, don't get off the path. Stay on the path that's lit up. Don't you get off that path, because the darkness is something else. And you don't see nothing in the dark. And if you get off that lit up path, you hear a bunch of craziness. You hear a bunch of noise. But sometimes when you close your eyes and you can't see, and even the sound is betraying you, and you're not sure, your nose becomes very important. Your sense of smell becomes very important. where you just tap in and lean in and allow this fragrance to show you and to remind you that you're okay. And as long as you're still breathing, and as long as you're still able to sense, to smell with your nose, you're okay. I was okay. God began to show me I was okay. You're okay. You're not going to be overwhelmed forever. You're not going to be burnt out forever. It's not going to look like this forever. You're not going to die here. We're not Mufasa. You're not going to die here. But you have to make the decision to be still and know that you won't be here forever. And in that moment, yes, all of that bad stuff happens. All of these negative things happen. We have to endure some stuff that we never imagined that we would have to endure. But all of that is utilized to strengthen us, to allow us to become who we're supposed to be going forward. And that person that we used to be could not become who they need to be if they were not tested in some areas to see just how strong you are, to see just how much faith you have, to see how much you trust in God, even when you don't see what he said is going to happen. Just how much do you believe in the promises that he's spoken over you in your life? How much joy do you have even when don't nobody else got it? I have no problem laughing by myself. I have no problem laughing by myself. I actually am intentional about if it's something that's going on and I get overwhelmed with something, nope, I need to take a break. Let me get 7 minutes. Let me find something to just even if it's just like, nah, even if something happens and I'm just like, yo, I'm really about to snap or lose it. Nope, it's time to take a break. Let me take my attention away from this thing. I need 7 minutes. Let me go find something to laugh about because it's going to help me to calm down so I don't act out of anger. And it helps me to then come back and sit with myself and process, why do we get so angry? I can then better process my emotions. Why is this happening? Or even if I don't in the moment, if something happens and I just don't have the ability to go laugh, all right, sit and feel this. And then we're going to process, why are you feeling this way? Why am I feeling this way? Because I don't want to go out and act on the emotion that I'm feeling, and it could cause me to have way more issues later on than I do right now in this moment with this thing. So listen, the valley is an important season. And I know it's hard. I know it hurts. But God is going to use it. Just be willing to slow down. Know how to rest. Press pause when you need to. And know that you have permission to take a step back. You have permission to pause. This is why this is called the pause pod. You have permission to get the rest that you need. You have permission to pause in those moments where it's just like, hey, this is just a little bit too much going on for me. I can't do it. Know how to set your boundaries. Give yourself permission to set your boundaries. But just know overall, you have permission, and you also have permission to transition and become the person that you were meant to be. You don't have to stay the old person that you was. And if other people are disappointed about that, that's their problem. It ain't yours. You got to keep moving. Do what it is that you need to do so you can get where it is that you're supposed to go. We're not supposed to stay here. We are not stuck here. You're not stuck here. There's way much more for you up ahead. We just got to get through this moment. We just got to get through this rough patch. And so God showed me that at this last term, when the clause came out and the betrayal happened, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to go back into this pit. I'm going back in the mud. I'm about to get even dirtier. I don't like to be dirty. I want to be cute and clean. God said, but this time you didn't fall in the dirt, in the grime, in the mud. You fell into a field of lilies. There might be dirt and dust in the valley, but there's also lilies in the valley. And lilies in the valley grow deep roots. And this time I didn't allow you to fall in the dirt. You fell on a patch of lilies. And this is where I'm going to clean you up and dress you up and change your clothes and dust you off and shine you up and polish you up. And I'm going to send people to come get you out that's not going to bare their claws at you, but they're going to extend their hand to you to pull you out of this place finally. And when I say yesterday at church, my new church home that I officially joined about a week ago, about a week ago, and when I say my pastor spoke this message, and I'm telling y'all, I started to research the Valley season and the Valley experience about a month ago. And here he comes, the first Sunday of a brand new month. Him, my pastor and co-pastor, literally extending their hands out to me. Oh my God, am I about to cry? I got permission to cry, but extending their hands out to me to pull me out of this valley that I made my home because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it out. I wasn't sure. It felt like I was down there for so long. I was just like, I'm about to make a pillow out of these flowers, out of this grass. I'm going to make me a blanket. I'm going to tie me some leaves together, make me a little outfit. If I'm gonna have to be down here, I'm gonna try to be cute while I'm down here, because who coming? Is anybody gonna come and help pull me out? And they came, and through his message, pulled me out. And once again, God extended an invitation to me, but this time he extended an invitation to me to get pulled out of the valley, because he's pulling me into my next. He's pulling me into the new season. He's pulling us into a new horizon. He's pulling us into our next. And it was just the moment I needed. It was just the reminder that I needed to know that I was not going to get stuck in this valley forever. And the verse that Pastor started preaching was the whole section that I had researched, Psalms 23. And I heard somebody say that why is it that Psalms 23, I'm gonna pull it up on my phone because the computer is acting stupid. Why is it that Psalms 23 is always read when somebody passes away, when somebody dies, but we never consider it while we're alive and well and things are happening for us? Why is it that we always read that when somebody dies or passes away? And I was like, let me go refresh my memory and see what they talking about. And so in this classic verse is, the Lord is my shepherd. I have everything I need. He lets me rest in green pastures, in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength and guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close behind me. Your rod and your staff protects me and comforts me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever and ever and ever. And Pastor pointed out 23 verse 4, even if I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me, your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. Clearly I cried. Clearly I cried because I couldn't believe. I was like, dang, God, you love me that much to call me out in the entire. So first of all, the whole service was dope, okay? Because God showed up all the whole time we were there. God was there, but God loved me just that much that He would allow an entire sermon to be sewn together, constructed as if it was a warm blanket being pulled out of the dryer and wrapped around my shoulders personally. I don't care if it wasn't for nobody else but me. That was for me. And it was like they were holding their hands out to pull me out of the valley and to say, you've been in the valley for too long. It's time for you to come out. Because you're not dirty anymore. You were afraid to have that fragrance of being burned and being betrayed and manipulated and denied and muted and not enough. But that's not what it is anymore. You smell like the lilies of the valley. You smell like the lily of the valley. And if the lily of the valley is God, then I have the fragrance of God. And everything that I've experienced is not wasted and will not be wasted. Nothing happened by coincidence. Nothing was in vain. And that was my invitation yesterday at church. That it was time to come out of the valley. And then God reminded me, and I can't think of the scripture right now. I'll try to put it in the thing if I can find it really quick. But He reminded me, if He dresses the lilies, the birds, the lilies, with beauty and splendor, how much more does He care about me? How much more does He care about you? If He knew and orchestrated that He knew I would be in the valley, then that means He already prepared my spot, because He knew after a while I would need a field of lilies to have a soft landing for that last time that I felt like I got thrown down there and trampled over. And He said, this last time, you're not going to fall in the dirt. You're going to have my aroma. You are not going to smell like you've been in the fire. You are not going to look dirty like you've been trampled down there, but you're going to smell like flowers. You're going to smell like resilience. You're going to smell something that of being pure. You are going to smell like me. Man. And if I smell like Him, then that'd be worth it for me. everything that we've had to deal with be worth it for me? Did I make it to the dream career by 28, by 30? No. Have I had babies yet by 28? No, not yet. But God had other plans for me because I had a lot of other things to learn to get to this place. And I'm glad I didn't get my way. I'm glad I didn't get my way. I'm glad I didn't get my plan. Because I would have missed out on all these other things, on all these other wildflowers, on all these other butterflies that have been flying in my field, all these other blessings that I've had the honor, the privilege, and the joy to experience. I would have missed it all. The kindness that I've got to experience other people's hearts where I thought I was alone. There's actually other people out there like me. There's other people out there that experience things like me. And when the enemy tries to isolate you and think, see, you in this valley, you ain't gonna never make it out. You ain't got no help. You ain't got. God sent the fragrance to remind me of everything that he promised me. It's coming. So when I get what he said I'm gonna get and I show out, don't say nothing because I've been I put my time in. I put my time in. So today I just wanted to come and chat and remind you, you are not alone. And I'm sharing your experience with you. I don't know everything you're dealing with. I don't know everything you're going through. And just know that it's not just about the highlight reel. The edits that we only see on social media that everybody shares and everybody thinks that everything is sunshine and rainbows. And I'm guilty of it too. But this is why I'm doing the podcast, because I just want to share the truth. I want to share truth and let people know that truth is out there and God is real and he lives in me. And if it wasn't for him, I would not be here recording this today. So it's not just about the highlight reel, but it's also the real work is in the valley. It's that quiet place where it's like, it might seem like you're by yourself, but you're not alone. That quiet place, the secret place where the fragrance of God's presence found me. And maybe you at that point too. And just maybe you're not breaking down. Can I offer you that? Can I offer that just maybe you're not breaking down? You're breaking through. You're breaking through. You're being prepared to bloom, to become. You're breaking through to bloom and become. And when it's that time, you are about to emerge into something new, simply as you and who you are and who God authentically made you. Nobody else. We're letting all that other stuff go. We ain't showing up as nobody else but ourselves. Straight, no chaser. We not adding no spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down. The medicine is the medicine. Straight up. We don't need no extra calories. We're not adding things. It is what it is. We are who we are because it's who God said we are. So I hope I said something today that helped you think about your valley experience, your valley season in a different way. I pray that you hang on. I'm not being cliche at all. I pray that you hang on. It is not going to be like this forever. It's already not like this. You just have to go through this process, finish up this process, and grab every part of the journey that you're supposed to grab, because you're going to need it to help turn around. You're going to be that person. You're going to be how my pastors were for me, that turned around and put their hand out to pull me out. You gonna be that person that's gonna turn around and extend your hand to pull somebody else out. Don't leave me out here by myself. And I'm just using what I learned to turn around to help pull somebody else out. So let's do it together. Let's do it together. Give yourself permission. Give yourself permission and know what it means to come out smelling like the fragrance of God. Have faith for the fragrance. Have faith for the fragrance, because the fragrance is coming and it will be acknowledged one way or the other. But have faith that the fragrance of something new is coming. Have faith that the smell of the lilies are coming. And you know what? Lilies have a very distinct smell. You will smell like that of the lilies and not of the burning and the bruising and the cutting and the betrayal and everything else. There is something else up ahead for you. Just hang on in there and believe that it is, because somebody is coming to help you climb up out of that valley. Man, this was an episode of the Pause Pod. I pray that you got something from this. Feel free, make sure you comment below. Let me know what's up. And we'll be coming back with more episodes like this. So until then, I love you. And remember, press pause for your peace. You have permission. Love you.